o'clock and Thursday, November the 1st. Welcome, everyone. And so first step is to approve the minutes of the 23rd of October. Do I hear anything?
I'll make a motion to approve. They were amended, right?
Amended?
Yeah.
You want
amended.
Okay.
Well,
those-
you're voting on the second set that went out.
I'll second that.
This is approval of the amended minutes of October 23rd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Okay, can we actually look at the CPC before we go to the 7-year? Or
No,
you want to do 7-year first?
I didn't get the CPC applications. I don't know, Carol, did they provide a copy of CPC applications for you? They seem to be a little cryptic in how they do things. I saw him at the supermarket last night, and I've been trying very hard to not engage in my work during
Okay,
times which I'm at the supermarket.
just a resident of
Go to
Harwich.
Dennis.
Just trying to be a resident.
Okay.
I did see him, but
Okay, so actually, we don't have to review that, so we will go to the 7-year plan.
if you like it, maybe I'll just, you want to do them by category, or you want me to run over the whole thing and then see where?
Let's not, that's double duty. Why don't we just go alphabetical down?
Okay,
And you have your recommendation and non-recommendation? Okay.
I do. And just on the last page, you'll see that my target was 1.5, so I take my work seriously. So I came in at 1,487,99.
Okay, before we begin,
So
Angelo,
it's-
would you like to ask the question that you asked me prior to the meeting?
I think so.
Okay.
I had managed to get a copy of the selectmen's budget message and goals. And all.
Goals and objectives, yes.
And the goals call for, roughly speaking, not exceeding 2.5% increase in taxes
That's correct.
and significant reductions in debt service, capital.
In the amount of requests for debt service should be significantly curtailed.
That's right.
I had some influence in
Well,
drafting it, so
So
I'm familiar with it.
I guess when we're doing this and approving things, will we be in sync with what the targets are being asked for?
Yes. The two in particular, I had, and in the budget message, it does have it, that there were 2 debt exclusions that would be included in this budget, and those 2 are in here. I did push my luck a little bit, and I think I had mentioned in front of you guys, I was gonna try to do the fire trucks and start getting them into a rotation, so that way we can do those debt exclusion. So there's 3, and where there was 2, but it is significantly decreased over the last couple of years. I think we've been averaging closer to 5 or
Okay.
6.
So within the parameters that you're concerned about?
They are within the parameters.
Good, because if not, we're
Okay.
wasting everybody's time.
Good.
I
Okay.
do try.
Why don't we start with admin?
So, yeah, just working my way down, I did not fund the ADA sidewalk project. Just quite honestly, there's insufficient funds to accomplish that work, the 450, 250. I did fund the 60,000 to do the demolition at 203 Bank Street and the parking lot improvements. I think having that site ready to go, that town meeting had previously voted that, I think is important to do. The insurance work to maintain the former West Harwich School in Bell's Neck, we estimate that about 10,000. That would come out of the operating budget, Sean Libby's operating budget, so that would not be funded by free cash. And then the green, fuel-efficient fleet replacement schedule, I had originally funded that from free cash, but I think that's an ongoing expense and doesn't make sense to fund by free cash, so I will include that in the operating budget if
Okay.
that is going to be voted.
Let me ask you something then. Since they're under 50 anyway, okay, so I'm a little confused because the way they're being capitalized per se is as an operating expense. If it's an operating expense, why would it be on here?
Because it is kind of a newer program. The one thing I did, Mr. Chairman, just in terms of this, is the first year is 27. Ultimately, we're looking at replacing 9 vehicles.
Yeah.
So if you look at 9 vehicles, that's $90,000. So anything that had a cumulative effect that was over 50, that I thought you
Okay.
guys should have an opportunity to weigh in on.
But how about the insurance work?
That doesn't need to be in there. He
Right.
submitted it as a request, but it is
Yeah,
improvements to a building.
But it's an operating expense. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Okay.
So that's basically, you're knocking off $1,150,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
One quickie on are you leasing these,
Yes.
Capital leases.
do you have funds put aside that you're gonna pay when you bring them back? Because they'll find something wrong with them, unless you're leasing them in a different way than you. want.
We're owning them after the lease, correct?
We will have that option to own after the lease, so the decision would have to be made, do we keep
Angel's
those?
question is.
Yeah, no, I
those-
follow his question. We have them, and I don't remember the exact amount, it's like 10,000 miles, I think is what the lease is good for. We anticipate maybe doing a third to a half of that. We don't get a lot of mileage on those vehicles.
I wasn't clear, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
When you bring the car back,
Yes.
after you're finished with the lease, you've done your couple of years, if you have nicks or scratches or whatever on it, they charge you for that before they accept the car back. And it can be very expensive unless you've made some sort of deal with them up front.
Is there a reserve fund of some sort?
That's what I'm saying, you may need a reserve fund.
Yeah, we were gonna, in answer to the question, no, we don't have a specific reserve fund set aside for dings and dents. We did not take that into account.
Normally, the lease would say normal wear and tear,
Yes, I believe it does.
and I would guess some minor dings and the carpet's wearing out, and the
Dana.
tires wearing out, a normal wear and tear.
They're very strict.
Well, it depends on the lease.
I think we're a municipal client, so they're trying to get into it, so I would be surprised if they're gonna nickel and dime us too much. They're trying to get our business.
Well, we're going to find out the first year. So, yes, sir.
Surprised.
On the articles that you're not recommending, the 450 to 250,
I'm the fourth.
do they move automatically to 21? Or do they just fall off?
Under the way I do it, it moves to 21. I usually keep them and then back them up.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something to know, okay. So it's not going to show, but they're going to move over a year.
Okay.
Okay, so that's admin.
Yes.
Okay.
You want a motion to approve each one as we go, or?
Oh, yeah, you told me. What did you want me to call it?
I want that off.
Just take it off?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, do you need a motion?
Well, we're voting individually. We only have to vote for one, and that is the demolition, the $60,000. We have
Make a
to,
motion to approve.
okay, all those in favor?
Second,
Aye.
second and I.
Okay, so I know Dana came in a little late. It's the fifth one down,
Yep, I got it.
okay?
Right up to speed. Thank you.
You're on, man. So we're voting for the 60. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
6-0.
6-0. We don't have to,
I mean, the green vehicles, I mean, again, we're ultimately, the program is 9 vehicles, which is almost $90,000. So if you want to vote on the program, I would be fine with you voting on the program. I don't want to be accused of, well, you just did 27 this year, but it really is 90. So just for full disclosure, that's why I'm kind of saying that, but I'll leave it up to,
well, here, I'm a little confused,
discretion.
because if it's a $90,000 program, why does like $200,000 show? In the
where
out
do you
years?
see 200,000?
Well, if I add them all up.
Because
1,
it
2,
would be
3, 4.
replacing 9 vehicles, 3 a year for 3 years, and then sequencing it through again.
Rich, are we just voting on this year?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think we should.
Well, no. We are voting this year, which means we wouldn't vote if it's $27,000.
Right, oh,
But
okay.
what the town administrator is saying is the program is only 90,000, of which the first year is 27,000.
Correct.
It's gonna be a little hard town meeting to explain that, I think.
If you want to have it under 50, I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
my question was gonna be, how are you're gonna present this in a separate article for 27,000 this year?
Actually, I'm probably going to include this in the operating budget and then make a note in the operating budget that this is a lease. They've changed the law that now I have to disclose what are leases.
Okay,
So it will be documented out in the operating budget.
so just like we don't do anything with cruises that are in the budget.
Correct.
We wouldn't do anything.
That's a
with
good
this.
analogy.
Yeah.
It's a good analogy. Under 50?
But you're buying, the cruiser, police cruisers,
Mm-hmm.
Right,
but you're buying those
right.
out of operating expense.
Right.
And they'll never show here.
Right.
But,
Do you-
but the issue is, and we've got the budget director, these are capital leases.
Right,
So that's the reason why they're on here. And the 27 is actually the first payment of 90,000 that we're committing to.
Right.
right, but that
Yeah, go ahead.
debate will be held between the town administrator and the board of selectmen and the finance committee as an operating expense. Do we want to weigh in on that? Is that what you're asking?
No, what I'm asking is, are we voting on 90? Or are we voting on 27? See? It's like we do wastewater and we voted, how many million?
40,
30.
30 something.
Pick a number.
27 million.
Big. Okay? We voted the big number, but the smaller number fits in that year that we went to town meeting. This is the same thing. Where the big number is the 90, the 27,000 is the payment this year.
We didn't authorize, though, 200 million. We authorized the 30 million, 27.
Hey,
Well, they
Here you
authorized
go.
the borrowing, we authorized the borrowing of the 200 million. So we're authorizing, pardon me? Town meeting did.
No,
No.
they
No.
only authorized phase 2, which was the 27 million.
27 million.
Right.
This, we're authorizing, if we authorize the first payment, are we authorizing the total payment of 90, of which we know 27 is this year?
Well, I mean,
I don't know how it's going to read in the warrant.
it's got to be in the operating budget.
I'll put it in the operating budget. I
Okay.
think that's
So,
the cleanest way to do
I
it.
mean, we don't even have to include it in that case on this list. I
That
mean,
was my point at the very beginning.
yeah.
That's
So if they
my,
wanted a motion, my motion would be to remove it from this list.
yeah, I mean,
That
that,
we, the capital outlay committee, are doing.
your committee
Right.
should be
Well,
concerned
the
from an
rest of it-
operating budget concern.
Right, and we will have a whole list of questions and debate that way. So if you want the endorsement of this committee,
I
would
think
say that
leaving
you
it
could
there
add it, but-
and leaving the 27 and not voting on it and just noting,
Okay.
okay?
I'm fine with that.
And I think only because, by definition, it's a capital lease.
and that will give
I wanted-
people a clue that there's out years and there's
Right,
more
right.
coming, and that will be part of the debate and probably part of the explanation.
I was kind of accused of sneaking in a vehicle,
Yeah, yeah.
which I'm just living up to the policy that the board adopted, but I was accused
think-
of sneaking it in. So I want to disclose what we're doing, what the plan is, and
as
that's
a-
what this
As
does.
a budgetary item new to the budget, and that debate will be fully.
Yeah, and I think you guys will be debating it.
Send it back here.
Send it back to us.
Refer back to committee.
Okay, so
But
we don't have to vote on it,
that
but
would,
make note of
I'll
this.
put under 50, so there's no need for a
Okay.
vote.
Okay, so
Cemeteries?
Well,
cemeteries.
so about
The assistant town manager, Mr. Malillo, did you have a question?
I was just gonna provide
He's gotta
input
use the
on
microphone.
the lease if you wanted it.
No. They want it.
yeah.
The lease information goes to the finance committee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That'll be in March.
Do we vote on that? Bruce asked a few minutes ago, do we want to vote on each category? Administration as a vote?
There was only one vote on administration?
There's
and
only
you
one
voted-
Because there's only
We
one
did
that
it.
was
Yeah.
higher than.
Okay.
The rest is there for information.
Okay, cemetery.
Cemeteries, there's two items. One is the pet burial ground completion, 57,000. And that is to complete the walkway going around that. Because we stopped that project in the middle, it has significantly increased the cost. Now we broke it into two pieces, but it is $57,000 is what we have a quote for to finish the cemetery over on Queen Anne Road. And then the Arboretum project, cemetery mapping and software, is $30,000 to do the mapping. But, again, there's a few of these things where to then do the Arboretum may be $100,000. So again, just for kind of full disclosure, it's not just 30. It's going to be more than that because it's a project. And I just want to kind of make sure we don't have what the total cost of the Arboretum is going to be yet, but 30,000 is
Dana?
this year.
Yeah, and that clearly in the definition of the project says we should vote for this. I mean, because it's that leading to the bigger number.
Right.
And it's going to be in an article, and it's going to be well debated
But
at town meeting.
The issue is, it's under
The-
50.
The TBD, there should be some sort of guesstimate in there, whether it's $100,000 or $10 million or some sort of number. I think my personal self is it looks better that way. We've always done it that way, even.
I think to add credence that we voted for the 30 being part of a number greater than 50, and that the placeholder should be throw 100 in.
As long as there's clear understanding, and if it comes back at 250, that I'm not going to be held to account saying, oh, well, who's the
Well, let me
idiot,
ask you,
who's
if-
the idiot that got it so wrong?
But if you
I
put,
don't know what the number is.
if, how are you?
Hi, Joe.
We gotta
Actually,
set,
Joe, why don't you
I'm
sit
good.
here?
we gotta set your alarm for 4 o'clock. Not to wake up at 4, but to hear it.
He was here on he was here on Tuesday at 4.
Thank you.
There's gotta be a clearer way when we start doing projects
know.
like this,
I
that
know.
what happens is, we can't vote, I mean, we can vote, but it means nothing because by charter, the number is 50 for us, 50 and greater to vote.
Yeah, but the definition in the charter does say that if you have plans for a building, or if the total cost of the project is going to be X amount.
And I agree, and we're voting on the bigger number, but we don't know what the
But we
bigger.
don't know what that number
The
is.
community center was in there for 10 years at 3.5 million. At town meeting, it was 5.4 million. We voted it. I mean, people understand
Yeah,
that.
we-
that-
Okay.
that-
Yeah, we need.
I'll put a placeholder number in there.
Yeah.
As long as we understand. Maybe I'll put in the notes section that it's a placeholder number.
Right.
And I would, we
That's-
have to
Okay.
say the 30 is part of a bigger number.
Right.
And it's, the 30 has to be a part of a number that is greater than 50.
Right,
So 100 sounds pretty good. Okay. I had a question on the completion of the burial grounds, of the walkway or whatever it is, the path or,
Yeah, the
Okay.
path, the walkway.
that's for total completion.
Yes.
Does that, if I was to look at it, a plot or a plat of the property and the walkway, would that assume a building being there? Or, no?
The only thing that's there is the gazebo, which is already there.
Okay, so it doesn't assume anything like a crematory being put there? Or, no, my thought is that if I create a walkway through that property and town meeting a year now, or a year from now, or whatever, decides, yeah, we're gonna go into crematorium business, and it's on that property, now we just have to rip up the walkway that we just put in.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The way it's designed is as you pull in, there'll be a parking lot. To your left, as you pull in, will be the walkway in the gazebo. That will be a completed project on the left. There'll be provision on the right for a building with the crematory. So the
That's gonna be
walkway,
left undeveloped.
that will be left undeveloped until
Which-
such time a decision is made, what's going to happen with that.
Okay, so we're not destroying anything that
No.
we, okay,
No.
that's fine. Okay.
Fair question, yeah, definitely.
Just a thought, I drove up there and drove in, and you really get a better feel for it once you drive to where the parking lot is, and you can see the paths, and obviously right near the parking lot is gonna potentially a building at some point.
Well, if we ever get into business.
Well,
If we get into that
the
business.
I
the
mean, that could-
administrator says she needs office space too. She gave that pitch too.
Yeah, but that's,
A
okay.
whole different question. At what point can pets be buried there? What steps have to be taken for that? Is that something that's gonna be at this town meeting, or is that, I'm just curious as to, we're doing
Well,
all
I-
this, but where does all this?
Are we licensed or?
I will give you the, well, there's multiple questions in that. Number
Yeah.
one, it's not, when you do, all these things will be cremated, so it'll be cremated remains of an animal. So it will be just a smaller urn, a horse or something bigger would be a bigger urn, as you can imagine, a bigger animal is a bigger urn. She has that slotted, so it's laid out to accept the urns. To your second part of your question, legally right now, if we were to start selling lots, we could start selling lots, segment that money off in the general fund, and go ahead and start doing that work now. We have chosen, administration has chosen in concert with the selectmen, that we will put this before town meeting in the form of what I have here, a pet revolving account, to see if we want to then sell lots, put it into a pet revolving account, and then use that to pay for the $57,000 in this case. We legally, right now, could start collecting money if people wanted to reserve a spot in the pet cemetery, burial ground, I'm not sure I don't call it cemetery, but pet burial ground. We could start reserving that, and this is exactly what we did at the middle school to the cultural center. We started segmenting that money off from the rental receipts that we got. So same exact concept. But, so
But
town
you've
meeting,
chosen not to do any of that until,
legally we could, politically it probably wouldn't make sense, so that's why we're waiting for town meeting.
okay.
I think that's probably the
When-
fairest answer.
When she came in to discuss it, she already has the lots segmented.
Yeah.
So everything is, yes, sir?
So if the revolving account is defeated at town meeting, that doesn't mean that we couldn't continue to go ahead and the money would come out of the general fund?
That's a different question, because it would be my recommendation to the selectmen that if we present something, do you want to be in the pet burial business? And here's your opportunity to go up or down with a revolving account. If town meeting says no, then I wouldn't say we're going to proceed anyway.
Okay,
I think that's contrary to legislative intent.
okay.
But that's yours truly, that's not the selectmen.
Got me a little confused. Is this 57 will be paid out of the money that is collected?
Yes.
So there's no tax dollars involved?
Correct.
There's none of that? I think
Correct.
that has to be made as a point, however you call that. That's very different than saying,
Well,
we're going to pay for it, and then,
but I had a question, and the question is, like seed money or startup money? Where does that come from? In other words, if it's voted yes, and we can go, and the dollars become available to us when, June?
July 1.
July 1, there isn't $57,000 in that account, because you suppose you haven't gotten it all.
Yeah, we wouldn't,
How do you
we wouldn't
fund-
expend money without having the appropriation available to us. Most likely, what we
So that-
would do is if town meeting votes it in May,
Right.
start selling the lots,
Until you
or having
get-
people
okay,
reserve the
that's
lots
fine.
until such time as we get the cash.
So there's
flow.
no seed money, there's no funding, it's,
Because I think even under revolving accounts, we cannot spend what we don't have. We have to only spend what we have, so we're kind of committed to under 44.
Makes sense.
So the money we've spent already, what's the origin of that?
Cemetery fund.
No, well, yes and
Yeah,
no.
but it
Yes
has
and
to
no,
be
but just
cleared
to- yeah, I want to make sure, because this is on camera too, so there was a misunderstanding that we thought we could spend cemetery revenues to build a pet burial ground. We could not, and the town attorney weighed in on that, saying that we could not. So to the point earlier, what we did was we actually took it out of the general fund to pay the vendors that had done the work, and at the end of the fiscal year, I call it a truing up, where we can true up the accounts. So we had a shortfall of 70,000, and we came up with 70,000 in other areas where we had turn back and paid for it out of the general fund. So the work that's been done there now was paid out of the general fund, and the general fund did reimburse the cemetery revolving account that originally did do the work.
So everything, all the accounts.
We've had to
are-
unravel
All the
kind of what
accounts
was
are
done.
clear.
Yes,
Okay?
we're
This-
clear as of
All
today.
accounts are good. Okay, so we're voting on $57,000, and that is for pet burial ground completion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Was there a motion
Who
and a
made,
second?
Oh,
she
sorry.
may not have recorded the motion in a second.
Your motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. 57,000 from the pet revolving fund.
Here a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, 5-1.
5-1,
Who voted no?
Dana?
Dana. Prelude to FinCon.
The $30,000, the $30,110, which is part of a number to be determined, which should be around $100,000 next year. Do I hear a motion? Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'm missing what, I'm sorry. I'm still on the last vote. I'm still trying to catch up.
They want me to
The next
remove
number.
TBD and
30,000,
put it
110.
at
Are we-
100,000 because the
Okay.
total project
Is
is
the
going to be
motion
more
for
than
the
that.
30?
No,
It would be to approve the project itself, which the 30 is a prelude to the 100, to the point of.
Approximately.
Yeah,
TBD.
approximately.
Yes, Dana?
Is there any technical reasons in the planning of all of this, that this couldn't be backed up 1 year pending all these other votes? Or is this important for you to get started in May if town meeting approves it to be ready by July 1st?
I would say that I think it would be better to go now because we have to do the mapping and kind of lay out what it's going to look like.
Okay.
And then if we do that, it would delay the project, I think, that much longer. And I believe she is applied for some grants to do the construction work. So in order to sequence us to get the grants, it may be advantageous to go now.
And I think Arboretum is misspelled.
They don't
It's-
have spell check in
But it's
Excel.
Latin.
You have to turn it on. It is there, you have to turn it on.
This is Latin, and like Mr. McParlin and I, we winked because we knew we took Latin for 3
I
years.
didn't take Latin in school.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that the project would be funded from the cemetery revolving fund and not from the church.
Thank you.
This is really 3 projects, isn't it? 3 different things. Software, mapping.
The software gives you the mapping.
The software gives you the mapping, and then it allows for the construction of the arboretum.
Well, that's a third thing.
Yeah, mapping, design, and then construction.
So vote here approves the entire.
That was one project.
I hear a motion.
Make the motion.
Make the motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Dana, Angelo,
What do you,
6-0,
what's your placeholder number you're approving?
100 grand.
100 grand.
Joe has a question.
Just record me as opposed, please.
5-1?
6-1.
Oh, that's right.
5-1. 5-1 on the one. Did you
Was-
vote before?
Did you vote
You
before?
voted on
First time
the,
around, I voted in favor.
okay, so that was 6-1.
610, yep.
6-1. And this one is
Yeah, I'm sorry.
6-1 again.
It-
I didn't, it's
You made the
6-1.
motion?
Yep.
Who seconded? I'm sorry, I'm
I
trying.
did.
Dane,
Thank you.
on which one was that?
The
Pet burial?
100,000.
The 100,000 was Dana and then Angelo. On the arboretum. The
Okay,
pet revolving on the burial ground was Chris and Bruce. That's what I had.
okay.
Okay, so we don't have any information on CPC. So you want to skip that one for now?
Yeah, we can skip that.
Yeah, okay,
And
so
once
that-
I get it from them, I will
Okay, so
backfill
that
this.
needs to be voted upon.
The engineering is kind of, boy, on a trifecta here of things that lead to additional costs. On the MS4, the municipal surface drainage, the 40,000 gets another update to our overall MS4 is municipal surface drainage that we have to do. And then it's estimated to be about 250 to 300,000 to change out the different catch basins that go directly into the environment. So this project is really 340,000 that's being requested. I think when we have the 40,000 spent, that's really the design money, that will indicate that we'll do X number of catch basins over that 3-year period of time. We have a lot of these where they're multi-year things,
Yeah.
but
Your motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
what was, I missed the
7-0.
7-0, thank you.
The next one is CPC, we're going to skip. Facilities maintenance.
So facility maintenance has 3. The ADA-wide compliance plan is technically almost $100,000, so it's 75, 120.
You know, this is another one of those projects, and I think we need either an asterisk or some type of, on all these under 50, but part of a major project.
Right.
We need either an asterisk or some type of marker so that we understand.
It's multi-year.
It's-
I
well,
think
it's
what I'll do is
multi-year.
I'll start calling them multi-year
Yeah,
projects in the notes.
My point being
Go
is,
ahead. Sorry.
you could have multiple, like fire department, ambulances, when you keep on looking at them,
Mhm.
that really isn't a multiple, that isn't a large project that we're looking
Right, it's a
on the
single
first year.
ambulance.
There's single ones every year that we expect to see, and I don't want to confuse something like we just voted on, 40, 100, 100, 100, and you saying it's over 300, it's about $340,000. That's, the first year is a quarter, not dollar-wise, but a quarter of the request is done this year of a multi-year project. So if we can note, or asterisks,
I will.
double asterisks,
I will.
that it's a multi-year project, and not like the fire department asking for 7 ambulances every year, okay? That'll help me understand it better.
Yes, no,
And if
thank
it
you.
helps me. Okay, so crossing lights. Are these on sidewalks, or these?
No, we're down to facility maintenance, DPW, that's CPC.
That's sorry, CPC. Okay,
So 20,000 for the first year, the multi,
Okay.
we're still on the ADA one,
okay, all those,
motion.
motion,
We're voting on the 20,564.
which is part
Which is
of the
part of a
$100,000
$100,000.
project. Yep,
Just a question?
sure.
This is all at the library? This isn't?
Various locations.
Various
They did actually Monday night at the selectmen's meeting, the consultants coming in to kind of walk through the project, but it was a semi-town-wide review. When I say semi, we only had 30,000. The original bid came in at like 60 to do everything. So we're doing half. But an area where if we do like Bank Street Beach, and you know, how do you get people that, you know, have handicapped elements, how do you get them from the beach parking lot to the water? We don't need to, we could do the same thing at Red River and the other ones, but we just studied one to get a sense for what the consultant would look at. So
But this
it is
wouldn't be an
comprehensive.
operating cost? You're going to present this as an article?
Yes,
Just a question.
yeah, I think I will.
Okay.
Because you're asking for free cash, right?
Asking for free cash.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Okay.
Uh,
The community center compressor, that literally is 20,000, so that's under 50, that
we don't
is
have to-
clean.
We don't have to vote on that.
The highway barn metal roof insulation, 260,000. I recommend that from
question
free
about that.
cash.
Surely.
Did we get testimony from Link about that roof? I mean, how bad is that? Is that something we have to do this year?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, Sean Libby
See, I
came
don't
in, Sean
remember-
came in to do the presentation. I just don't remember the
I
details
don't
of
remember
that.
hearing about it.
How old is it? That's a good question. At least 25 years old.
Well,
He's
mean,
been talking about it for a while.
If you want to hold and have him,
I think it's been.
do you have information for us?
If I remember correctly from the presentation, it wasn't the oldest roof in the world, and the DPW actually helped put it together. The issue was the material, and it was rotting. I believe there were pictures involved. It was rusting through. We can certainly have them
I mean, if
back
you want to
again.
hold off, and I'll
Well-
get some more information or have Sean come in. I mean, technically, the work of the committee doesn't have to be done until December.
Let's hold off on that, but let me just make a note. The origin, I understand the origin of this is facilities management, but the end user on this is highway, and that department is a very large revenue producer for us. And normally Link, in his presentation, doesn't ask for something if he really doesn't need it and he really can't fix it. So let's just put that in our notes, because he runs a very efficient.
I agree.
And highly profitable.
I would just like to hear more about it. It isn't like they're replacing the roof. They're gonna add
I
insulation.
think they're replacing the roof and adding insulation.
I think it's funny, we just went over to look at the cart barn building, and what they did is, technically, it's a metal building, but they did put in layers of insulation to try to have that be insulated. The cart barn is not year-round use.
Not heated.
It's really going to be, yeah, it's not heated.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different, where I think having insulation, if it's just a metal roof now and it's escaping, having a better insulation factor.
Well, and you have people working in.
Yeah,
I mean, this is where the mechanics are, and, I mean, you know.
I think they just did the, before they had done the sidewalls,
Yes.
and now this is the roof
So
itself.
that's why when you
That
see
work hadn't
pictures,
been done.
everybody's huddled against the walls, okay, because it's warmer.
I'd like to hear more about it.
Okay, we'll get you.
We'll hold in that. and I'll
We
get-
have this gentleman look at that roof.
I'd be glad to, but I
He's
trust.
a roof specialist.
Yeah, I know, I trust Link's requirements, Link's suggestion.
If you're over there at the dump one
Yeah,
day,
I'll go, next time I go to the dump, I'll go back.
just go in, look, see if you can see,
Right,
if you can see
right.
daylight, we need a new roof.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
do that, and I'll send you an email.
No, it's fine, yeah, or just,
Perfect.
we have local Harwich experts. Okay, so we're gonna just skip this, and we're gonna ask,
We'll have Sean or Link and/or both come back.
yeah, okay, so we have voted the 20, which is part of the 100. That's multi-year, we'll somehow note that.
I will note that.
Okay, so now we're on
Page 2, fire.
fire.
Did you make 2 air compressors? You already did those?
The 2 air compressors were $20,000,
So we don't have to.
below the threshold of the committee. This one on fire, there are...
This is the radio.
I'm just looking, yeah, this is the radio. The radio has 2 pieces to it. This is one that this number may be adjusted. If you recall, we've had 2 years in a row of replacing non-public safety radios. So this is the $40,000 just to kind of finish that project. And then the $200,000 over the next 5 years is to do the police and fire for the emergency broadcast ones. The state keeps altering its approach to things, so they have moved that off. There's a chance that they may fund some of the project. So we have, this has been a little bit of a moving target, but the 40 is to finish the remainder of the,
And I would ask again, and I'm really not satisfied with the answer. Verizon and AT&T, and I went to the website for the state of Massachusetts, and FirstNet is the mobile cellular, sorry?
Vendor, I think they call them.
No,
They supply
That's not what
those.
I was saying.
Okay.
That's not what I was saying. The FirstNet is the nationwide system of which Massachusetts has signed on to. And it's a mobile network, and the municipalities within the Commonwealth are all signing up for it. And I'm not happy with the answer we're getting, that it's not for us. I don't understand that, so. I don't see how you build $1 million, 5 years at 200K, you build a system that's sort of a base system when you have a statewide system, and you're saying this is statewide also. I don't understand. And FirstNet is the emergency system that the state of Massachusetts has agreed to go with. And Rhode Island, Maine, all of them, all New England has signed up. New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all has signed up for FirstNet. And this is not the answer. Something is wrong.
My understanding, and you could be right, I don't, that part of it. The reason why we have to do it, though, is that the FCC takes and they do the bandwidth. They've narrowed the bandwidth.
That's radio. This is a radio system versus a mobile cellular system. So there's a question of which one is the state you're really talking about. Is the state, this radio band is what the FCC has said, I'm taking back bandwidth.
Correct.
Okay? And I'm giving you either the bandwidth I really want is because I need it, and there's probably bandwidth I don't need, and that's what this radio system is being built.
Well, my understanding is that the equipment is so much more sophisticated that instead of having a wider bandwidth, they're selling off bandwidth and creating more narrow, and our equipment can't interact with the narrower.
But my point is,
something needs to be done.
My point is, if it's a radio system and there's a cellular system, a mobile system that the state has signed on to, why would you have both?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
I mean, I just don't understand it. You know,
I could just tell, well, in the last storm, I had AT&T, and when their
This
cell
is
tower...
totally
but when their cell tower went down, we were out of business.
And you had radio.
When we have our own radio backup.
I understand that in the municipality, but from a statewide system...
I'll find it. I understand that a little better as you clarify that. So it's a local cellular system as opposed to...
It's not a local, it's a national, it's a national FirstNet system that is separate from separate from the local mobility. So, but the state has signed on for it, and yes.
My question to you is, if we were to sign up like the rest of those folks, what would happen to the $200,000 a year?
That's my point. I don't know. This is a radio, what you're looking at here, from my understanding, the FCC, is you're talking about radio frequency, like Motorola, okay? Not cellular, okay? All I'm saying is that there's a cellular network built for emergencies, for fire and police, okay?
That everybody else has signed up for?
That just has been, the state has signed up for it. So it's selling now to the municipalities. So my point is, we haven't addressed it only because we're from the presentations that we've heard, we keep on hearing about this FCC thing. That's radio band. That's not cellular. So
I'm with you. I just want to make sure, though, that when you have your own radio system, we have our own transponders. And the way that network works is there's two, actually I think there's 3 bands that get assigned to us. One is a local band, so we talk to ourselves. One is a regional band that we talk to our neighbors. And then the third is a state band. So you literally have 3 channels on the radio system to identify the bands.
And my point to you...
I just don't know, I don't know enough.
No, and I'm saying
maybe
maybe the Town Administrators Association you belong to. Maybe there's a go-to guy that's on the technical side, information technology side, that can describe to you what those 3 characteristics are and users are versus FirstNet, which has just been awarded to the major carriers, and its mobility and cellular. So the question is, do you spend $1 million on a radio system, which is really being replaced by a mobility system?
Yep, no, I'm with you.
I'm just...
Let me find out more about FirstNet and find out
Yes,
the
sir.
answers to that.
Just a, again, technical question about how we're presenting it. Would it be possible for us to just put them as 2 separate things, the $40,000, phase 3, final phase of townwide radio program, $40,000, and then the next line, future police, fire, communication system, radios.
Yes, I will. I'll
Put it in
separate
21.
that.
Avoid any questions leading into this future thing that we don't have the answers for.
Yeah, and I've asked about
We
it.
know the answers to the 40,000,
Yes.
that's finishing that off.
That's
finishing that off.
And my
Yeah,
only point is,
that makes sense.
do we need to spend $1 million on a radio system when everything
Right,
is?
and we don't know that answer yet, but we got a placeholder in there.
Right, and if we do, you know, if
We
it's
make that
a,
a separate
if
line
it's a
item.
local radio
Yeah, that's
network
probably
that
the
we
best way.
depend on, that's fine, but $1 million is a lot of money to put together a radio system,
I'm gonna get that line back on the next one.
okay? So we're voting for, we don't even have to vote for the $40,000.
Right.
So yeah, the 40,000 is
50.
under.
Right.
And the radio system or cellular system
Yeah, I
will
mean,
be decided next
maybe
in
you can
21.
check it out with your.
I will. I'll look at it.
Okay.
I've looked at them in the past, so I have
Yeah.
a sense for it.
There's a website.
I just haven't focused on this as much.
Well, now
I've
that
left
you're,
it-
maybe
I've
now.
left it to my,
Now that you're
fire
a
department.
taxpayer within the town, you will realize. Yeah, it's true.
Where all this is going.
You sure you didn't want to live in Dennis?
Yeah,
Are you phase two?
Bruce,
I'm not in any of the phases.
Oh,
Sewers.
it's nice to know where, okay, I'm gonna pick a house
That's
right here.
already, it's already
You
came up.
better talk to Chris, you better talk to Chris.
On the
Oh,
next-
trust me, I'm
Fully
fully aware of what's
Yeah.
going
You
on.
ready?
Yes,
On the next one, can we, that's one project. It's $5,000 for our share, but the article itself will explain that. Can we just motion to approve $100,000 for that one project?
oh,
Which one are you
is
at?
that a motion?
oh, the
It's
auto
five, it's,
extrication?
The
5 and
extrication
95.
equipment is a $100,000 project on the capital plan. Now, when the article comes up, the funding source is gonna be 95
Right.
here and 5 from us, and the motion will have that, 5 from us. It will become clear. So I gave you a line earlier, I'm taking one back now. It's basically what I'd like to do.
okay, all those, is that a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Second.
Approve 100,000 for the.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
See how I did that?
Nice.
And then the pumper truck replacement schedule is the 600,000. This is one where I did put in for the, to do it as a debt exclusion. I had mentioned this before, to pay that over 4 years, and you could see in FY '24, there's $1.4 million for the ladder truck, so that way we kind of do like we do for the roadway project, where we always are borrowing about $700,000 a year to do that. So that's kind of the concept. I know Carol and I at least have talked about that, you know, as a concept, and we'll see if, we'll float that detail of that information, but it would
So
be to
this-
pay that over 4 years.
Well, one of the good things is one of the free years without an ambulance.
Correct.
Question,
Well, that's, I mean, you have to yes, sir.
there's no way to get that out of a debt exclusion and put it back into free cash?
Not unless you cut $600,000.
Well, we might have cut 250 for the highway bond, garage, roof.
No, we didn't.
We didn't cut
We're gonna
it.
We haven't
Review it.
cut anything yet, but
We haven't reviewed it yet.
I understand. I just,
It's certainly a topic for discussion.
it's just that debt exclusions on the ballot are difficult.
But when it's public safety, it's not difficult.
Although I've seen cruises go down before, so.
So have I,
That guy got a speeding ticket.
so have I.
Yes, sir.
I agree that it's a high priority to get this pumper truck replaced, and we don't have that much money, and what Chris said, if we take it out of debt exclusion, we'll have to move something someplace else. I think a public safety debt exclusion always wins, so. Not, you know, no, not always.
So we don't say.
I'm willing to,
What I want to know, what I'd like to do is when we come through the total, when we understand the 250, and we do all our totals, do we fit into the free cash? In other words, if free cash is $1.1 million, and we've come up with $1.2 million in free cash. I don't know what the town administrator has.
I laid it out,
Oh, on the back.
how to spend the 3.4.
So you're all within range.
Oh, yeah. This is all within budget.
So,
I mean,
but
I
the
do have to
250
put all this together.
if you
for
voted
balance.
no on the 250, well, it sort of tilts. Now free cash,
Right,
now you can add an ambulance.
right.
So, okay, but we're not.
Okay.
Okay. let's vote on the 600.
What-
Yes,
Wait a minute. Why, instead of just borrowing for 4 years, borrow for 10?
We could. We could look at, I mean, that's one of the things that we'll look
And all of
at
a sudden, you may have money to cover that with free cash,
in the out years.
even this year. I mean, if you did it for 10 years, rather, it's $60,000, $65,000. It's not,
Okay.
you know, it's not a ton.
okay.
I'll make a motion that we vote to approve the $600,000 for a new pumper truck replacement.
Second.
Oh, that was
I'm giving
tied.
it to,
Tie goes to Joe in this case. I think I gave it to you before, Bruce.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
On the golf, I do need to, I'll go back through, all this is paid out of golf funds. There's 3 different funds, but they're all basically being paid for by golf funds. The first one is
Can I-
35,000, that's under.
Before we go there,
Sorry.
because we have 2 esteemed former Board of Selectmen. When you guys put the clubhouse in, that was the biggest expense. Has that been pettily told off?
I think that may be, I think there may be 1 or 2 projects that is still being funded by the taxpayers on the golf.
Irrigation.
One
Excuse
second,
me.
one second.
That's correct, she's saying, yeah.
I didn't,
That is correct. There are a couple of debts that, you know, long-term
I
debt
can hear her.
that we're paying out of taxpayer dollars for the cranberry belt.
So there are some projects, just to repeat for the microphone, there are some projects that are still being paid off because originally they were funded out of the town's general operating budget
Can-
and not out of,
can
the
can
golf
we have
receipts.
that before we vote on golf?
Sure.
Do you mind?
I think it's a good question.
Well, the other question is there additional free cash now that golf can start paying for those?
no.
I mean, it's.
I mean, I spent it.
Well, the question I would have is if there are golf funds, why can't we prepay whatever debt they have?
That's what
Is that what you're saying?
That's what you said.
So if they owe $180,000 and there are the golf funds, let's prepay and get it off the books. Can we do that?
Yeah, generally, it depends upon the original borrowing.
Yeah.
If the original borrowing is 20 years, there is generally a rule in that you can refinance it within the last 5 years, I think, just as a general rule. We'd have to look and see what the original.
Can we just
structure
hold
would be.
off on golf? Yes, Pete.
I didn't understand your original question. Can you say it again slowly? It was something about if
Jersey, asking-
the clubhouse being paid for, you said, something like that.
I was asking of the 2 former selectmen.
Right.
Only because they've been around longer than I have,
Right.
and planning and so forth. What type of debt exclusion still exists on the original capital expenditures way back when, which would be the clubhouse? Because I'm sure the golf course, we didn't buy. We had the land.
Okay, the clubhouse was built and added on to, there's been different, the original one was paid for.
Okay, whatever it is, but if there's,
Well,
if
the
there's.
debt they're paying off is not for the 1973 clubhouse.
Okay, fine. I don't really care. All I'm saying is, if there are changes or if there's modifications to it, and that building still has debt on it, on top of the original debt.
We'll get that
I
information.
care a lot, and I just would like to see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, so we have a building, and the building's been paid for, okay? But now we add something on.
Right.
If there's debt on that, I want to know what the debt is.
Now, you're only talking about the building. You're not talking about the irrigation system or something like that.
Whatever the debt is
Oh, okay.
on the golf
You didn't
course.
say that.
I think part of what's going on is that originally the golf course was probably built under kind of general taxpayer money. And as finances have evolved, there's been these revolving accounts that have come out. So I think what Rich is saying is prior to the revolving funds picking up some of the debt structure, is there any of the original debt that we can pay off?
There is.
And the answer is yes, we know that there is. The question is how much, and does the
And I'm
revolving
saying,
accounts have the funds to do it?
Why are we continuing to extend the debt if by law we can prepay it and get rid of it off the books, out of the golf revolving funds. That's my point.
Yeah, there's another part of that. The money generated by golf should be used to pay for golf things.
Right.
But these predate that.
Yeah, I mean, for 15
See,
years or whatever.
I
it
mean,
has
you got,
been.
that's why I'm saying that you understood what the original debt was and what were the parameters of, or the conditions of the debt. And all I'm trying to say is, how long-term do you have to go on a building that's 40 years old? I mean, yes.
When they're getting that information, can we also find out how much money is in each of those three accounts that they have? They have three accounts.
They do. My caution is that we have a project that got approved last year for the work on the cart barn and others. 1.2 million, numbers escaping me at the moment, 1.2 in that neighborhood. We have, in order to make sure that no taxpayer money would go towards that, we have significantly spent any of the fee structure towards making sure that we pay that off. So it's a possibility that we can't pay an old debt because we've now committed to new debt with that money. But we can look at that as a concept to see maybe when we roll in, can we roll that over and then move that into the debt?
Should have been consolidated.
We just need to look at that because there are legal impediments.
And I don't have any problems with whatever they put in those three accounts. I just want to know how much is in there.
Yep, we'll get to
Yeah,
it.
let's
We'll
look
get
at
to
that, and
it. You want to hold off on
we'll hold
golf
off on
in
that.
general?
I'm just looking at, from a, again, I don't do municipal tax accounting, but the issue is debt consolidation, much like the cart barn. Let's say the cart barn was $1 million, and we still owed $300,000 on some old debt. Could we have reborrowed 1.3 at a lower rate in debt consolidation?
Which, just to kind of assure the committee, you know, I'm very confident that the finance department, when you go through the debt schedules and you see that we borrowed something originally at 5% interest, if we have the ability to roll over, we have done that multiple times in the time I've been here. So we do try to capture that. Capturing it from taxpayer money to golf fee money is a little bit different animal, and not one that I know I haven't, in the time I've been here, I have not looked at.
So you want to
Good
relook at golf?
It is a good
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Let's relook at golf. I'm not negative about any of these, and I'm just trying to figure out, can we get rid of some debt?
Yep.
Harbor Master. First one is Wixon Dock Landside Improvements, 70,000.
Yeah, I thought I'll let the two gentlemen, but, doing the tour, I mean, boy, that was actually pretty eye-opening.
It was, you really had to go and look at it.
And your
It's something-
recommendation?
We need to do it.
Okay.
Got to.
Anybody else? Okay.
Independently, I've been there
Okay.
from both sides. of
Would you
water.
like to make a,
I make a motion, we approve the 70.
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
My next one is the asterisk job. The 57,000 and the 2 million,
Yeah.
the Allen Harbor Jetty.
So we're voting on 57 because it's over the 50, but we're really looking at a total project of 2
$2,050,000.
million.
2 million.
We can figure out how to do it.
Yes, there's a problem down there. It's pretty obvious. We were there and saw it. But there was a previous study done
Yes, and he brought it,
back in the year whatever.
70-something.
Why would a new study be any different than the original study, which we never did anything about?
Well, I think the original, and again, I'm looking at it if somebody was a consultant, is that the problem may be the same, but the solutions over the years may, because of technology, may have changed.
Did we look at the original study?
From John's presentation, this isn't, it's kind of a study, it's more design and permitting to be able to do the work. So it's not a study that's gonna be looked at, that's not gonna lead to anything. It's a study that will lead to bid documents and then to go out to bid to do the work. My summary here of study, design, and construction, I probably should take study out, because that would be design and construction, is the intent behind that.
So
Dana?
you see the design, 57,000, and the 2 million, the actual construction?
Correct. That was John's presentation when he did it.
Dana?
Is any of this coming from funding from their fees? or
No.
This
And the
is
reason-
taxpayer?
Yeah, the reason why is,
Used all that.
yeah, everything on the water side, we couldn't even cover the land side. This, we're trying to do
I just wanted-
winter boat storage, we're trying to come up with ideas, we're not getting too far to generate some money.
Okay,
but-
so we're let's,
But no.
I mean, I
All
understand it's
taxpayer.
design and construction, but for some reason, that second phase could be a no. We're not voting at 2 million plus, we're only voting for the 57,000,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned.
So moved.
I need a,
Call the question. We got a second.
okay, we got, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
against.
You're against?
Yep.
Good for you.
6-1?
6-1.
You don't have a boat, do you?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I know I came late, but I also apologize I have to leave early.
That's okay.
But if you would like, take a look out that window, please.
Whoa, Jack!
Not many people can see 8 and champagne.
Oh, my goodness.
Stretch,
When you arrived in style, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
That's, what do they call that? That's a
Stretch.
limo.
Stretch.
It is
I'm
in
going
like a
to take
stretch,
some
it's like a
25th
stretch
wedding
Hummer.
anniversary people to Boston.
Oh, nice.
Well, enjoy, drive carefully.
Sorry.
I have to leave too, because it's my turn.
Thank you. I'll see
Hey,
you.
thanks for your input, Dana. Okay, so the next one is 125,000 for a Lincoln stretch, no, I'm sorry.
Library?
Yeah, library,
Let me ask you,
90,000.
Harbor Master truck replacement,
That's out to 25.
26.
Believe it or not, we actually, 26.
26.
Believe it or not, we replaced that the first year, so that will be 11 years
Yeah.
before it gets replaced.
Okay. So it's the Brooks Library sidewalk repair and street. So I guess we discussed this, and I don't remember an answer.
Oh, I did go to, your question was, like Johnny Carson Carmack, was,
The answer is.
I went to CPC and
Yeah.
I said, can this be covered? And they said, absolutely no.
Okay. Did we vote on the 70?
They didn't give me a
Wixon
reason
dock?
why, they just told me absolutely
We
no.
voted on,
Yes,
what
you
was
did.
it? What was it?
We did vote on
It was
the
unanimous
70,
first,
unanimous,
Peter.
Okay. So
Bruce and
we're
Peter.
down to 6 people now.
6 people.
So did the CPC give you a reason?
No,
They don't have to. There's not enough money, there's not enough money in one of the 17 buckets they have, or whatever. Is it 17? 6? 3?
they have $1.2 million to spend and they got 800,000 worth of requests. So do the math.
Now,
I'll shut up, but I should have said
I like what you said.
that. We'll have to load up on requests next year.
you don't have a Rutgers MBA, but that doesn't,
That's it, no.
No.
he went to Rutgers undergraduate, I went to Rutgers graduate.
No, I went to graduate school.
Did you? Yeah, education. Education?
No.
Oh, really? Looks that way. Brooks Library sidewalk.
My favorite. I think it's important. This building is going to be perfect. You're going to be so proud of it when they get all the scaffolding out. It'd be a shame to get
You gotta
that
do it.
close
You gotta do it.
to the goal line and fumble the ball. So let's push it over.
Well,
Just upsets me that the library department has to pay for it and not the town, but
no, the town is paying
It's
for it.
free cash.
The
It's
town,
coming
it's
from
out of free cash.
It's
Town's paying
from
for
the
it.
town.
Yeah.
The real issue, I think what you're saying is, it's a real issue that the librarian has to request it when the town should be requesting.
that's what I'm trying to
That's-
say.
Part of their study, though.
I'll make a motion to approve the 90,000.
Only because
What a surprise.
Sidewalk.
sidewalks.
Should have known.
Can you
Wait,
bring
who
us the
seconded?
pictures?
Was that Joe?
Joe.
Okay. Do I hear a second? There's
Joe did.
multiples,
Joe did.
multiples.
I second.
Okay, so this is one of the, yeah, that we have to go with it if,
I'm really pleased that somebody came by and trimmed the trees.
we're
On
voting
the-
right now.
On
We're-
Bank
we're-
Street, after we
We're
talked about.
voting first?
You can have discussion.
We're voting first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now,
So it was unanimous?
yes.
Very next day, somebody must have talked to the highway department because they trimmed those trees on Bank Street that were rubbing up against the
Yeah,
building.
you know, I may have brought that up, because the other thing was all the lights out back, if you notice when we leave tonight, that they all work. And I got on Lincoln, I said.
Because you
"These-
live in
all
town now."
these-"
It's good to be
You
a
get some
resident.
mileage out of
You
that for a while.
You're a resident. Your
But no,
tax dollars.
You know,
pay-
I was mad, so I saw when you guys said that, how dark it was, so I think it was a selectmen's
Brutal
meeting, the
out
next
there.
meeting. I went out and it was black, pitch black, and I said, I have Sean Libby's cell number. I sent him a picture, how black can you get, or something like that, and sent it to him.
Just blame Bruce.
He got on it.
Okay, the next one is
Sorry.
CPC. We're gonna skip it.
Yep.
Seymour Pond, yep.
I guess my point,
Planning is the next one.
well, I understand, but I just wanna talk. I'm sort of at a loss where we define a funding source being CPC, but yet we don't know if, in fact, it's going to be approved. And there is no fallback. The fallback is, are we considering this so important that if they say no, we have to say yes? It's not one of, and this is one of them where it's not like we supported the library for CPC funding, which made them change your mind on an issue. This is something where I think $300,000 is a lot of money. And this is $40,000 for a person and $300,000 for the trust. So I just throw that out to you.
So are you saying, Mr. Chairman, that the CPC people do not know our opinion on this kind of issue?
I don't want to make that statement. I don't know if CPC cares what our, and I'm not jesting, I'm just, there has not been communication between the two committees, and we support requests where we think the requester needs support. And I don't know if this is one of them or not. This is a major, if in fact there's $1 million, and this is a third of it going to this. I don't know if we vote on it to support it, and then when it goes before them, we send in the troops to support it. I don't know. Or do we vote no? And that's why we should hold off to find out where CPC stands.
They don't vote until January.
Yeah, I think they said they were gonna hold off till January. Just one thing, and I'll give Carol credit for this, is that she did have to do a presentation in front of CPC, and next to the free cash, you'll see the amount that they have currently available, which is, well, will be available for FY20, is $2.2 million. And you can see the buckets that they're broken out. They're
Okay.
right next
Yeah,
to
I see
these
it.
fancy graphs.
Yes.
And Angelo got his graph in here,
Yeah.
just for the record. But there's 480,000, and to my knowledge, I think there was only 2 requests for housing. One was 340 for us, and
Oh,
then
and the
one
other
was
was from the
5,000 from
CDP.
the CDP.
Yeah.
So they have 345,000 in requests, and they have 480,000 available to them.
How's this sound, Chris? Let's say on a particular issue like this, the CPC committee is kind of on the fence, but they knew that our vote was, let's say, 6-0 or 7-0. Would that help them? Would that provide them some cover to make the decision to support this particular project?
You know, probably when I started, I wouldn't say that, but, you know, now I think it would. When we went last year, I kind of manipulated, so I had, well, required all the department heads show up and lobby for their projects, and that had a difference. They voted it based
Is there a
upon-
mandate that the 480 has to be spent?
No.
But it is committed money to
To
housing.
housing,
It
and I
can't be
understand.
used others.
But I know there's been sort of a change within the Board of Selectmen's interest in the money that are in the accounts for CPC and where they should be directed.
They're on board with this, the selectmen, the 340.
No, I don't mean that. I think the Board of Selectmen now are taking a much greater interest.
Proactive
Proactive
stance,
stance on what
That's
what
fair.
CPC funds are to be used for and when they should be used for. So this being 3/4 of what's in that account, what is the Board of Selectmen's position? Are they,
They have not, I think as part of this, the process for
I had-
CPC,
yes.
we had to get approval from the board to submit it. So the board has approved
who's the
this
ombudsman
project.
for this thing? Who's, like,
For
who,
the Housing Trust?
you guys?
Yeah,
Tag
it
team.
falls to us.
Okay.
Well, it
I mean,
falls
I
to
think
us.
we'll vote on it.
I think a vote would be beneficial.
And if I might, last year you folks did vote, because I did your minutes when I had a different hat on, but you guys did vote on a couple CPC projects, and it was relayed very strongly to the CPC to say that the
What we, no,
COC
the
strongly recommends this funding.
we voted on CPC funding. We voted on projects to be voted, to be funded by CPC if and only the funds were provided by CPC.
Yes.
That's what we
That's what
voted
you
on.
voted last year.
That's how we voted.
But you also expressed, especially in the
Support.
library,
Yeah, we went
Support
there
for
for that.
Yeah.
But when we vote on these CPC projects, we're voting on the fact that, yes, the project could go through if there's CPC funding for it.
Right.
Well, that's what we're voting on.
And that's probably what you want to do again.
Yeah,
Right.
Because what Chris said is, his money is all used up to keep it.
Yeah, the free cash, yeah. But the theory is, this project goes in a draw if CPC says no, and we're not gonna take it and try to fund it elsewhere.
Right.
But no, but that's not what we're voting on. So let's vote on it. Can I make a motion? Yeah, I guess I
you
can.
can suggest a motion and
Let
somebody
me
can say
suggest,
so moved.
let me, Joe?
Move the CPC housing, $340,000.
All those, second?
Second.
I get it. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
said second. You need a second. I was
second?
just saying.
Second.
You need a
Second.
I thought Chris did, but Chris,
Okay.
Chris.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're pushing 5:15, we're getting to the silly zone, okay.
200,000 for the local comprehensive
So
plan
that one's
update.
6-0.
Yes.
Did we skip any other CPCs? We did.
Actually, we did. The one that we skipped that I think you did get a presentation on was on the Red River Beach, the,
Right,
the
that was from,
abutment,
yeah, let's vote on that.
Conservation, the jetty,
Remember
the
the
jetty.
conservation lady came in?
Amy.
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 Joe, give me a motion
I gotta find it.
on the first page.
First page, middle of the page, shore stabilization, jetty extension, Red River Beach, CPC 100,000.
Move the 100,000 of shore stabilization jetty extension, Red River Beach.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we move that. The 30 we don't have to worry about. And now we're at the 200,000 local comprehensive plan update.
There is a hope on this. I do have it funded from free cash. There is a hope that that number may be adjusted by grants or the county. But to do a local comprehensive plan
It's under planning,
under planning.
the last one.
This is the 200,000 to lay out the
And this is the one that
to do 10 years.
Shirley, you're
worth
the
of-
one that presented this last
Yes.
week, and this is the one that you said that the local comprehensive plan takes in the other plans
Right,
to make it.
Yes.
right.
And
And we want to do it while those are still valid.
while they're
plans.
still good.
Very good.
Move the local comprehensive plan update, $200,000.
All those in favor, second? Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and there's maybe a grant to get this?
Yep.
We are going to try every means possible to get grants.
Okay, and this,
Absolutely.
then we would free up some free cash.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That's
also,
good.
a lot of times, these are reimbursable grants, so you need the 200 up front, do the project, and then you get paid back. So-
Okay, okay. We don't have to worry about police.
Yeah, the 2 police are under
Okay,
50,000.
so we're gonna skip police. Okay,
Lincoln.
Move the $700,000 five-year road maintenance plan.
okay, so part of it is the
The Chapter 90.
Chapter
matches
90,
up to
and the
that.
other 700 is debt?
Debt exclusion.
Okay, so but the whole thing is actually 1.4 million.
Correct.
Second.
So I should move 1.4?
Move 1.4.
Move 1.4 million for the five-year road maintenance plan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're good.
And then the Little County Road. You
Joe?
guys are very familiar with that.
Move the $5,560,475 for Lower County Road maintenance, not federal tip funds.
Second.
Okay, I have one question before we vote. How long, what would be the debt exclusion? What's the term?
It's a lot of money.
I mean, the life of the road would be, we could
40?
easily do 20 years or 30 years. We would do a longer period of time on that.
Okay, and the warrant, or the article would say that, I'm assuming?
We could, yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
would
think
put
what-
that in.
right.
We'll put that in.
Is long good? Long is good. Okay.
I moved it.
Yeah, we moved it, we seconded it, and I just had a question before we voted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'd like to vote against that, but I'm not.
You lose.
Because of your house.
Yeah.
They'll
Okay.
shut the water
Watching
off
it for a
permanently.
year.
Okay, so the next one is this, it's actually a big old jack that's lifting up the vehicles so that all the town vehicles can be serviced.
Particularly the fire trucks.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the big thing, I mean, whether you need a new roof or not, you still need the jack.
Move the $90,475 for mobile lifting system for large vehicles.
All those, second? Chris,
Chris.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
Move the $80,000 Ford F-350 dump truck.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we can skip the trailer, and we're up to two C and D trailers.
C&D trailers.
Move two C&D trailers, $75,000 each for a total of $150,000. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Now, this is the sweeper body and the pony motor, not the sweeper itself.
Correct.
Move the Johnston sweeper body and pony motor, highway number 30. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now we're at youth and rec. And I'd like to give them everything. The first one we don't have to vote on. This one, the 112. Okay, so now we're back on Pleasant Beach.
Parking lot.
Pleasant Road Beach.
Okay,
Move the $112,000 for Pleasant Road Beach parking lot paving and overlay. Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Have you guys visited it?
I have.
I have.
They need it?
Oh, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6-0. Okay, we got two that we need to vote on, assuming that the dollars come from CPC.
Move
And-
the, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go right
Move
ahead.
the sand pond restrooms and playground improvements, $125,000. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
I don't think we have to move the next one, sir.
yes, we do, it's 55.
55,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just-
Move the White House Field scoreboard replacement and safety netting, $55,000. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Um, If we had free funds, would we want to do the restroom renovations on the next two?
Which two are we talking about?
The next two
Which
lines?
two?
Red River Beach and Cahoon?
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
Those are 125 though for
Yeah,
3
but
four
they're out.
years out.
All I'm saying is, if we had free cash,
Would we do them now?
would we do them now? Would it be worth doing it now
Okay,
when
my-
it's cheaper?
I mean, my personal, I had a hard time cutting out all the sidewalk work downtown here.
Me too.
So, I mean, if there was money that was left, I mean, we can find a way to do some of the sidewalk work if I had to break it up into 3 projects. I mean, 700,000 was just a big nut to
So
crack.
you kicked these out to 23 and 4?
Well, I didn't, Eric did. He didn't think they needed to be imminently replaced. So just to, but if I had my druthers, if there was a 200,000 or 250, I would rather put it towards doing some sidewalk.
I
work
agree.
downtown.
I absolutely agree. We've been kicking that can down the road for 20 years.
Wow, these are two restrooms that are kicking cans
I
too.
know, but
I'll tell you.
I think people go behind them rather than in them. It's such a mess.
I'm just, I understand the sidewalk bit, and I think next year we have to take a better look at his requests on these, especially ADA and the renovations. I mean, the ones that we visited, when we visited, I don't want to visit again.
Right.
And, they're just so far out where if you want people to go to these locations
Yeah, yeah.
for recreation, you have to give them the facilities.
We charge them if they don't live here.
Like I said, you gotta give them something in return.
Sure you do. Well, I
So-
think he's gonna put, on Sand Pond, he's gonna put parking attendants there now. That's part of the deal to
Okay.
support it.
That's
That's
what
what he said.
Okay, so that, just the question. Okay, so now we have records retention, under 50.
The next one is wastewater, the 100,000 for the wastewater outreach coordinator.
That's a person?
Probably a company or a person.
Now, what is this person gonna do? Is this the person that,
To kind of help out.
The
with
ombudsman?
The ombudsman, yes.
but you're saying it could be a company?
It could be a company,
It would be a point person.
the company that would hire a point person. I did, on this one, I did, funding source wise, we last year put in $70,000 to create a sewer account. That money is just basically gonna be carried over. And the intent would be in the operating budget to put in an additional 70,000. We need to kind of build up, so when we start sending flow to Chatham, we're gonna have a $250,000 bill. And that money really isn't being used other than being built up. So I thought, why not use it, and the ombudsman would be here for the construction cycle for that 2 years as it's being constructed. And then at the end of the construction, now it's like getting a water bill. I mean, you don't need an ombudsman to determine your water
Okay,
bill.
so the ombudsman would be working on behalf of the residents.
Correct.
Not
Well, on
for the
behalf
town.
of the town. Well, we're paying for the service, but they would be working to mitigate and work with the neighbors. I think that's the intent behind
Yeah.
that.
Okay, that,
Move the $100,000 for
wait,
the-
wait.
Behind you,
Yes.
Joe, someone has a question.
I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say that this person would report to the wastewater support committee directly.
As is currently constituted.
Yes.
Did Chatham have one, or do
No,
they?
they did not.
But he's
Yeah,
not, but this person is not an employee.
This person is not an employee.
The idea is to hire an outside source.
So, we're hiring an outside source to report to a committee that really has no liability or substantial management,
Skin in the game.
dog in the fight.
Right.
I don't understand that at all.
I'll take a stab. I think what the concern is that we have, I try to do it myself. We have Megan, who is the health director, and Dan Pelletier.
Right.
And I think the rationale is that we all have full-time jobs.
And I don't, and that's fine.
And that piece, I think they're trying to find a way to kind of support the outreach effort.
Then I'm voting no. My point is, I think the individual or the organization should report to the town, not to a committee.
I don't,
I mean,
personally, I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay, I think there's got to be, as Pete says, skin in the game or dog in the fight,
Yeah.
that they're doing the right thing and they're not doing what is voted upon by a majority of a committee. And I think we've gotten into some personnel issues, I think, in the past on other operational functions within the town that report to a committee. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think any committee should have the responsibility of a town function in terms of human resource. So,
Mr. Chairman, let me try this,
wait a minute, we're still discussing it. I'm just,
but I think
Can
I
I-
have a motion that might address what you're talking about.
go ahead.
Make a suggestion rather than a motion.
Yeah,
Okay, I make a suggestion that we move the wastewater outreach coordinator to report to the town administrator.
well, I mean, I don't think it's our call. I think our call is to, this doesn't say that, and I don't know what
No,
the
that's why I'm
what
adding
the
it in.
warrant is going to say.
Yeah,
But I'm totally against, my vote would be no if it's reporting to the wastewater committee.
That's why I
The
was trying to move
RFP
it.
as constructed right now is to report to the committee.
Well, then,
Along the same lines as Joe, just throw this out as a suggestion. How about reporting to the health department?
I think it should be reporting to the town. I mean, you gotta make, I don't think we're in a position to say who it should be reporting to,
Right.
but what it should be reporting to. And it should not be reporting to a committee. I mean,
Yeah, the health department's not a committee.
I understand that, but you got the health department, you got the water department, you got the town administrator, you got the planner, you got the engineer, you got a whole bunch of people it could report to and make it real in a sense that it has viability and it's substantial and the residents could feel that. But I think the committee, I mean, nothing against any committee, but when push comes to shove, the committee is not liable.
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I just carry it? If he were to report to the town administrator, but work with the
Right.
committee, does that change it?
Yes.
Because then Chris can see him once a week or once every 2 weeks,
I
or
just-
read the papers
I have a real,
and cover you.
right, I don't think any one of us that's on a committee, and you were on the wastewater committee, wants the responsibility of somebody suing you because your contractor told them the wrong thing. You don't carry, I don't think any one of us carries, like if you're a board of trustee of a bank or board of, on the board of director where there's insurance on you for saying something liable or whatever, and you're gonna be sued. You do not want the personal liability. I don't think anybody does.
We do have coverage, I don't want to.
The town has coverage.
For acts of the employees and all the staff and committee members.
But suppose they get sued individually.
Well,
No.
the point to that is that the insurance coverage, as long as you act within the scope of your responsibilities, you
I-
can have coverage if you act beyond that
Yes,
scope.
sir.
Wouldn't it make some sense to have wastewater outreach coordinator report to the town, or to the town administrator, but to the town would be to the town administrator?
Right.
And then he decides who that coordinator,
Is working with.
exactly.
See, I see this parallel with CDM Smith. CDM Smith works very closely with the wastewater support committee,
Right,
but they don't sign his or her paycheck.
Right.
You want the person who's signing the paycheck to have the responsibility,
and who does the review at the end of the year? Does the contract get renewed?
or the selectman ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, I have
That's-
the
That's.
contract
that's-
awarding
And
authority.
that's
to
an
the
issue with
administrator and
CDM
selectman.
Smith, Mr. Chairman. as to whether or not their contract gets renewed and so forth and so on. It came up the other night at the board, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah,
I would think if you just took your recommendation and add Chris as the person being reported to the town administrator, but the work would be held with the.
You're good with that? Make that
Sure.
motion.
Move $100,000 for a wastewater outreach coordinator to report to the town administrator, $25,000 from free cash, and $75,000 from the operating budget.
Those in favor, your second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And the remaining ones are water.
Last question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
On the DHY Community Partnership, at some point, we're gonna need to put a placeholder in?
I actually did do that. The first line, DHY Community Partnership, CWMP revisions, and I put it out for 2021 as to be determined.
Where is it? Not 28, it's here 22, 24.
21.
21.
I added the very first line.
Where is it?
What happened, what is, oh, that's something different, okay.
I should have probably put that in
Oh, I
red.
see.
to
It's
kind
over
of-
here.
Yeah, it's
I
over
should
here.
put that in red so that stands out more.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to find.
It should be
Further
back
to the
here.
right, the last line, DHY Commission Partnership will impact.
Okay, so is there a vote on that? There's no dollars, right?
There's no dollars at this point.
So why? I guess,
Well, I guess as things are shaping up,
we could change and put numbers in.
yeah, well, as things are shaping up, it would be to form the special legislation has already been submitted, the
Right.
selectmen voted it, town meeting voted
Right.
it. There will be an article, if things go according to plan, there will be an article before town meeting. And what that article, the outline of that article would be that the state allows for the creation of the entity, the entity's governing materials would be formed, and basically the articles of organization, if you
Okay.
would. And in that, it would be a borrowing authorization in the neighborhood of probably $55 million to start designing and constructing that plant, with our portion of it being 15%.
Okay, I think,
So I don't know how you guys want to,
well, I think you can leave it there. I think what we have to understand, is, especially when we present this, what is it, December? To the Board of Selectmen? That's one of them, we don't have a dollar value right now, but there, I think we would have a number. Maybe you could put the TBD in red in 20.
yeah, I probably should do that.
Okay, put it in 20,
Yeah.
and that would give us the flexibility, that even up to town meeting that night, to put a number in there.
Mm-hmm.
But, Chris, didn't, in your research with the 3 towns that have already done this, is one of those 3, was Mansfield?
Mansfield, Foxborough, and Norton.
Yeah, were one of those towns pretty close to our commitment? So we could see what their budget looked like when they formed their,
Yeah, we had a meeting last Thursday, I think it was. Their structure's a little bit different, because I believe Mansfield had a plant, and then the other towns were gonna buy into the plant, and they ran out of capacity. So then the town of Norton decided that they were gonna build a second plant, if you would, to try to take the flow from those. And when Norton was gonna construct their second plant, they decided to form a regional entity for everybody to have a say. Because it was similar to Mansfield, was like our relationship with Chatham. It's Chatham's plant.
right.
We're just buying into something that already exists. So it's a little different in how it's constructed.
Okay.
Not a bad model, but
Okay, so now all we have is water,
yes.
30,
Is that 30 or 300, Mr. Chairman?
30,000 for the first one.
So we don't need that.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, that's.
Joe, thank you very much. That
That's
should be
300.
300,000.
that
I
needs a
did that
vote.
this morning. Holy mackerel,
That
that
needs
was
a vote.
sloppy. Sorry.
Ever since you moved here.
Move the Pleasant Lake tank-filled pipe replacement, $300,000.
All those in favor? Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's coming out of the water fund, so everybody.
Water
knows.
fund, yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm sorry,
Joe.
who
for-
seconded?
I did.
Thank you, Peter.
Joe?
Move the T1 generator at the main treatment facility in the water department, $65,000.
Second.
Bruce.
That's Bruce. All those in favor?
Aye. Move the purchase of a John Deere 35D in the water department for $64,000.
Second?
I'm giving that to Peter.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Move the 2019 Ford Super Duty F-550 replacement truck 9, including dump body for the water department, $76,551.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay, so we literally voted on everything. I just want to make a comment, and to Angela and the Finance Committee. I think there are some departments that are revenue producing like this that I would really like to see, and you would too, I know, their retained earnings and what they're doing with retained earnings and how much they can fund. I know this is all coming out of water.
Well, it's at least this much.
The only one that has retained earnings is the water department, because they're the only one that's enterprise fund.
Okay.
Their retained earnings for this year was 1.6?
It's in previous minutes.
1.6 million?
Okay.
It's in that neighborhood, somewhere in that.
Okay, so we've finished voting, and the ones that we haven't voted on really is golf, because we need a little more information. If I'm not mistaken, that's one.
In the roof
And
at,
the roof.
All from the roof with the
Okay.
two. And then I will try to track down whatever CPC applications you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
And we'll give you those.
Okay, so we are, as far as I'm concerned, we're right on.
I did want to just, one thing, per the request of Angelo, we did do, Carol did the work on trying to show the estimated tax impact of existing authorized, unissued, and proposed debt per single family. I hadn't had that before.
Yeah, that's good. That looks like my TV when the cable goes off, you know?
We'll have to look and see if there's a way to
It does.
pretty it
Oh,
up.
you mean the purple? Where the hell is the purple? Oh, you mean orange? No, that's,
I was a little bit afraid of that, just
that's nice.
so much
test
material, but.
Your printer works well.
This one?
So I did another
Yeah,
one.
that's a new
that
Yeah.
I sent that along as well.
Okay.
And so the other one that's simplified shows what's your existing debt.
Yes.
What's your authorized but unissued.
Okay.
You have that on your books.
Right.
And then what's your proposed. So it's only 3 different, colors.
Oh.
And it goes out for the same number of years. And I think that's probably the simplified
Does it
approach
bar,
that you want.
is it graphic or is it bar
So I
chart?
did it the same way, but we can,
Okay.
Well,
Well, the next meeting, can you bring it to us?
yeah, I'll
So
coordinate
we
and
can
get the
talk about it.
updated one in there.
Okay,
My apologies for
Okay.
the older one.
so we need at least one more before we have to present, and hopefully I'm done, Mr. Vice Chairman, by the 10th. Okay? Hopefully.
It'll be
Or else-
good to have you back.
It'll be good.
Yeah, they're gonna renew your contract, I
Yeah,
know.
so,
You're doing such a good
Because he's
job.
paid so much.
yeah. It's good to be old. December 10th is the Board of Selectmen's meeting, and two things. One is on December the 5th, next Monday,
November the 5th.
November the 5th, next Monday. Chris is doing the State of the Union to the Board of Selectmen on this committee.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's easy. The 10th is the presentation that you present,
Mm-hmm.
and that we should be there. And I ask you to be there because I'm not going to be there. Okay? Right now, Monday doesn't work for me, or Tuesdays are tough, but Monday definitely doesn't work for me.
So two nights, November 5th, November 10th, you'd like us to go to the Board of...
December 10th.
November 5th, next week,
Yes,
is the State of the Union.
yeah,
You know, how many members we have, what their good standing is.
just
who-
to back them up.
Right, who comes in late, who oversleeps, all that stuff.
Traveling.
Who's taking their ethics, who's an attorney who still flunks it, all that stuff.
He's gonna
That's
take the
all
bar again.
reportable, that's all reportable, okay? So he handles that. 1 month later, literally,
Oh, I see.
is the 10th Board of Selectmen, and that is by charter that we have to present, for some odd reason, what the capital plan looks like as of December the 10th.
Yep.
The caveat, in case I'm not there, is the capital plan is still subject to change through 2019 till town meeting. So this is what it looks like, this is what we voted upon. All the votes will be in, free cash, debt exclusion, all that stuff is reviewed by Chris. We're there to support. We don't have to make a presentation.
And you'll create a document, Chris?
No, it's this.
It'll be this.
It would be
is
an
the
update
document.
of this.
That's what I meant,
Yeah.
an update.
I'll,
of
I'll
this.
continue to update it, yes, Joe.
Then we don't need a meeting on the 8th or 10th.
Well, we have one more, what I want to do is get one more meeting in before Thanksgiving, so that we literally have it done, and if anything should happen, or we still have the week of the November the 25th and December the 2nd before the 10th.
So what date
Do you want to do?
What date are you available?
I think
The 14th or 15th?
15th.
I can't do Wednesday.
Oh,
The
yeah.
15th. Do I hear any problems with the 15th?
What day of the week is that?
That's a
Okay,
Thursday.
well, we gotta-
It's a Tuesday, Thursday, according to this calendar I printed.
Well, the 13th is a,
No, it's the 15th is a Thursday.
what's the 13th?
This is a Thursday.
I understand, I got it in front of me. What's the 13th?
The 13th is a Tuesday, that's a long day, because Monday, the 12th is a
But this,
holiday.
yeah, the Monday holiday means the selectmen are having their meeting
Oh, on
and
the
stuff.
13th,
Yeah, that'd be
okay.
a little hard, more hard pressed for me.
Double check with when the finance committee meeting will be, and let you know.
Well, it'd be a very quick meeting.
So
They
10,
normally, what time do you normally meet?
6:30.
wanna put
Yeah.
it tentatively for the 15th?
No, the 8th. The 15th.
November 15th.
November
You can't make the
15th.
15th. Can you make the 8th?
Yes.
Can you make the 8th? 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 Make it the 8th,
Okay.
okay?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, can you make the 8th?
I can now.
Just for the
To
record, the
cancel
8th is my
appointment.
birthday, but I'll stick
Okay,
around.
wait a minute, no,
I'll
no,
stick
no,
around
then-
for
then-
you. No, I'll stick around for you. They'll go to dinner afterwards. That's
No,
fine. You
just-
guys are
it
4
should
o'clock.
be-
so that's
it
the-
should
we'll
be
out-
very-
We'll be out quick.
I just want to review golf and review
Few loose ends.
The garage,
highway
the
bond roof.
garage roof, highway barn roof.
It's the highway barn,
A highway barn and golf.
golf.
And golf, you want to have the finance piece.
right,
And then how much revenue comes in on the 3 different accounts.
right.
Yeah, how much is in this?
And maybe an update on CPC.
Yeah, and I'll get the update on
Okay, and that's all
CPC.
the meeting would be about, so we don't, good?
Perfect.
This way, we have plenty of time, should something fall through, or we don't know, we can still come back, we're way ahead of Thanksgiving, and we're way ahead of the 10th of December when this should be done. And if we have to have an ad hoc, kind of quick meeting to, get things done, what I normally do, so Angela, you know, and we've gone through, we go into January into winter hiatus.
Hibernation.
We don't drive in the ice, we don't drive in the snow, and everybody else is in Florida. So what we try to do is avoid, there's no reason to meet January, February. We have completed what we needed to do, thanks to Chris and Charlene getting this all together for us, and of course, and the departments that have done a fine job giving us what we need. I think by the 8th, what we should have, and maybe this is just throwing it out, by the 8th, we complete everything, and maybe we have one meeting, like the 27th, the 29th, or the 4th, or the 6th, just to review what's being presented on the 10th. And if you can't make it, you can't, we don't need in other words, we're not voting on anything. So you don't have to be here. But I think we can have just a clean up, this is what we voted on, here's our votes, here's where we stand, here's the final dollars. After we look at golf next week, we look at CPC, and we look at the roof. We do all that, take care of that next week, and then we may, the week after Thanksgiving, or the following week? Do you want to, what do you like better, you still out Thursdays, like the 29th? Or
I'm
the-
good the 29th.
Well,
So-
can't we set that date
That's what we're doing.
at the November 8th meeting?
Well, I like to do it now because this is what Charlene can.
Oh, okay.
You're saying the 29th?
Is that enough time for you, Chris?
Wait a minute. for
You're
what?
going to have a finished,
November 29th?
Yeah, because I don't think it's due until December 20th, December 10th.
right, so I'm
So
saying,
that's-
does
yeah,
that work?
should- Yeah, that should be fine.
So we're shooting for the 8th, and then we come back in 3 weeks on the 29th.
Yep.
Just to wrap it up and see
4
what,
PM.
yeah, just to see what the finished product looks like and what Chris is going to present. And
Okay, so
if
November
anything is open,
29th.
he can tell us, and if free cash has changed, in other words, the request modified, and trying to get some final numbers. And what we're looking at is better defining TBD kind of things, better defining multi-year phased projects,
Projects, yeah.
projects. So we have that with an asterisk, the new debt chart kind of thing. Okay? Do I hear anything?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much. So, okay, so it's the 8th at 4 and the 29th at 4.
At 4, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Turn it